Allow the children
It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay.
She
Off your mind.
like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we loud, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you loud, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not they off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses, my ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego now I'm all I'm on do. My ego diary. Ayégun làwa mọ̀ làwọn tó jódodo. Ayégun diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Ayégun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Ayégun diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Ayégun diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí. Ayégun diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Máyégún diary politico. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó. Máyégún diary na ibi nọ́mbà 1. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Zone 2.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Mayegun ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Mayegun ti
dé. Ọlọ́pàá tó ń gba rìbá Mayegun máa wí. Hello there. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. This is Mayegun live. For those who are watching it live. Brethren, as you are joining us at this hour, please read beyond the description of this broadcast. Read beyond the caption of the broadcast, rather. Read the description as well. Like it. Share it. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell all of them that Mayegun today. And if you have done that already, thank you. Tonight, even though we have a lot to catch up on in the last 2 days, we are starting tonight with the news of the abduction, the kidnapping of Dele Farotimi, one of the outspoken individual from that contraption, Nigeria. Dele Farotimi raised an alarm just yesterday. And it was about some individuals who were totally after his life. According to Dele Farotimi, is out there an ongoing running issue with the supposed Nigeria oligarchs, the Nigeria elite, the stinking, dirty, coward elite of Nigeria. Started with Tony Elumelu of UBA. Then from Tony Elumelu to the useless old man called Afe Babalola, the criminal from Ekiti. So according to Dele Farotimi, in a piece on your screen right now that he released just yesterday, he has been invited by the Nigerian police in Lagos, Zone 2, where he was being questioned because of a petition written by Tony Elumelu. And according to Dele, DF, he said on Monday, the 11th of November last month, he was informed that an invitation letter from Zone 2 Police Command was delivered to his office. The letter requested that he report to the station on Wednesday, the 13th of November, 2024, by 10 a.m. So accompanied by his legal counsel, he arrived at the station at 9:45 a.m. on the stated date. At the station, he was presented with a petition written by a lawyer on behalf of Tony Elumelu, accusing him of defamation. Despite finding the petition baseless, according to DF, he addressed his content. Subsequently, in quote, he said, I met with the Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP, and the Assistant Inspector General of Police AIG in charge of Zone 2. After discussions, I was released on bail, on self-recognition, and asked to return to the station on Thursday, the 21st of November. So following this, I informed my friend, Pastor Sam Ayedogbo of Realm of Glory International Churches about the incident. On Saturday, the 16th of November, 2024, Pastor Sam informed me that one of the pastors in his church, John Untekume, had been abducted by the police, interrogated, and then returned to the church. He was coerced to write a statement along with another pastor, Obiora, Ochoku. The police showed them a petition written by Chief Afe Babalola in Ekiti State, addressed to the Ekiti State Police Command, and demanded that they lure me to the church to facilitate my arrest. The pastor informed the police that they had no means of doing so, as I am not a hidden person and do not have a direct relationship with them. They explained that I had preached at their church as a guest of their senior pastor and left. From their accounts, it became evident that the officers were from the Ekiti State Police Command. I found it perplexing that the police would attempt to lure me through such means, especially since I had already reported to Zone 2 on the 13th of November 2024 and was scheduled to return on the 21st of November 2024. During my visit, I even met with the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, who supervised the entire Southwest Police formation. I honored the invitation on the 21st of November 2024 again in the company of my legal counsel and was permitted to leave. However, I subsequently began receiving suspicious messages from individuals clearly attempting to lure me to certain locations where I feared I might be abducted. It became evident that these individuals were operating outside standard procedures. As a precaution, I approached the Lagos State High Court, seeking enforcement of and protection of my fundamental human rights against these unconventional tactics. I also alerted my associates and staff, urging them to exercise caution. To my dismay, the situation escalated when one of my domestic staff was targeted. These individuals contacted him, claiming to have a package for him at Evron Food Store on Chevron Drive, Lekki. Having been forewarned, he asked them to leave the package with the store's security personnel. When the attempt to coerce the security guard into luring my staff failed, they arrested the guard, took him to Zone 2 police station and questioned him about my home address and wife's contact information. The security guard was released on bail later that evening. I must reiterate that I am a law-abiding citizen. I have consistently honored every lawful invitation by the Nigerian police force. However, this recent development, targeting my associates, tracking my phone, and harassing innocent individuals are deeply concerning. It has therefore become clear, and it is no longer hidden, that there are policemen from Ekiti State Police Command who are currently working out of Zone 2 police stations on a mission to abduct me. Now, this leads me to ask a question. If I faithfully attended the police station as invited, why not invite me in the same manner again? Assuming there is even a charge, it does not take a lawyer to point out that law enforcement officers going around arresting people connected to me and intimidating them is not the proper way to carry out a lawful arrest. So I have good reasons to be fearful for my life, my personal liberty, and even the well-being of those around me. You will all recall, gentlemen of the press, that in February 2021, I publicly disclosed a murder plot against me. I was given 6 names by the persons who reviewed the plots. I mentioned 3 with specificity to the Lagos Commissioner of Police at the time, Mr. Hakeem Odumosu, who is now part of Lagos State Parks and Services. One of the persons whose name I did not disclose at the time was a serving police officer. Of the 3 that were specifically mentioned, one is a traditional ruler. All this happened in 2021, and the police never once investigated these claims. Yet, the same police are now surreptitiously trying to abduct me outside the procedure of the law. Now, let me be clear. I wrote a book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. I wrote the truth, and I stand by every single word in that book. Should anyone be aggrieved, there are clear provisions for redress, even if one elects to pursue criminal proceedings and attempts to criminalize free speech. as Afe Babalola is attempting to do, there is still a lawful process to follow. It is no accident that the Ekiti State Police Command has been enlisted in this injustice and has become an instrument of evil. Chief Afe Babalola is the largest employer of labor and the highest taxpayer in Ekiti State. Abducting me to be tried in Ekiti State is not justice but a witch hunt. I am being prepared for the gallows by Chief Afe Babalola and his minions who are doing his biddings in Ekiti State. If I have committed a crime, it was not done in Ekiti State. I live in Lagos, I work in Lagos, and every event described in my book occurred in Lagos State. The rest is in Lagos. What I alleged Chief Afe Babalola did, he did in Lagos. I published my book in Lagos. If I have done anything deserving of criminalization, those acts occurred in Lagos State. All we have seen so far is unbridled impunity unleashed on a citizen. So the rest is pretty much on Dele Farotimi's Twitter. So the stinking, dirty elite of Nigeria, who actually hates responsibility, they are, they are part and parcel of a ruined, destroyed Nigeria. You see, I have said it on this platform severally, that the destruction of Nigeria, the ruined Nigeria, was not done by the politicians alone. They have their friends in the banking sector. They have friends in the legal sector. They have friends in the supposed other sectors of the society, including the religious sector, if that is a sector. So the criminals in Nigeria, when you talk about the establishment in Nigeria, the establishment is beyond just the politicians. And you see, the police in Nigeria, the criminals in uniform, they are always very much ready and handy to track citizens that by any means goes against the norm of the supposed stinking, corrupt elite of Nigeria. Dele Farotimi is a well-known individual. He has spoken out on so many public vices many times. But you see, those ones that always feels like their ego are pretty much bruised when the truth hits them. So they have the police recruited or enlisted, as DF put it. They can track citizens. They can track your phone. They can lay siege around you. They can track people around you. But these criminals, this criminal police in uniform, right? They can never track the real terrorists terrorizing Nigerians, abducting, and then killing them. They can't do that. So that they do not have resources to do all that. But if you offend a big man, or a big man feels his own ego is bruised and he feels offended, he can enlist the Nigerian police force in a twinkle with a prize. So what really happened? Dele Farotimi put it succinctly in this shorter clip. Listen.
I'm saying that Afe Babalola corrupted the judiciary. And in corrupting the judiciary, it came across my practice. When I came across it, I challenged it as a lawyer and I fought it to the point where he could not enjoy the fruit of his exertion in the Supreme Court. In writing the letter that he wrote to the then Chief Justice of Lagos State, Ayomide Philip, he libeled me and I sued him for libel. And when I sued for libel, the machines of corruption went into overdrive, and a case that should never have been killed at the preliminary stage was killed. If Afe Babalola was the only person who is licensed to enjoy that level of impunity, that's different. It's not about him. It's a system-wide problem. You simply can't get justice. I'm saying that Afe Babalola...
And that's to put it in a short form. So, Afe Babalola used his influence. He's used that many times. The judiciary of Nigeria is always for the highest bidder. Justice in Nigeria is pretty much like non-existent. So if you offend the criminals in charge of Nigeria, they can use the rigged system, okay, to totally, right, destroy you if they can. because they can actually do that. So according to the report, this morning, some criminals who were not even like wearing uniforms, they were in jeans. They barged into Dele Farotimi's office, his supposed partners, his chamber in Lagos. And when they got in, they pointed guns at the staff and other partners working in the firm, asking for Dele, DF. So when they finally got to him, they took the phones of everybody in that place, assaulted them. They threatened to shoot and kill them if any of them make any attempt of getting closer to them. So then they took him. In that forceful manner, they dragged him and took him out of his office. And they put him in a car. In an abduction style, it was like a pure kidnapping, the style of the Nigerian, the Nigerian criminal police. Okay? So they did not tell anybody who they were, where they were from. They were not wearing police uniform other than they were wearing, a vest, which is like bulletproof vest. And RRS was written on it. So they put him in a car and they drove him to Ekiti without telling anybody. So when people started making phone calls about, this guy honored your invitation when you invited him to Zone 2 in Lagos. And why was he invited to Zone 2 in the first place? Another criminal in that criminal system, Tony Elumelu, said that Dele Farotimi defamed him or he bullied him on social media just by also, exposing his own criminality, free speech. And if you feel so kind of triggered, if you feel offended that somebody says something that is like a libel, something that is not true, what you need to do is to actually write them and sue them. There has been several court court pronouncements in Nigeria. And there have been some states that have actually decriminalized, defamation. So which means that, especially in Lagos, if anybody feels like you defame them and you are in Lagos or you live in Lagos or they live in Lagos, that is not a criminal offense. Defamation is not a criminal offense. In so many of these states in Nigeria, in places where they still use that as a criminal offense, these were those who were keeping the same military dictatorship, this military act or so. So in Lagos State, it's there, defamation is not a criminal offense. What that simply means is a civil offense. It's a civil case. What you do is that you will write the person. If I say something about you right now, and it is not true, it's a lie, right? And you know it's a lie. It's going to defame you. What you will do is that you will write me and ask me to retract and apologize. If I choose not to, that I double down, that yes, I'm saying the truth. The next thing is going for you to institute a case. That is how you treat defamation. You do not call the police. You see, the Nigerian police is a criminal organization. It is the most corrupt organization or police force in the whole world. And it is also the most evil too. Where they are not working to protect the interests of the people. They work to protect the interests of the few, which are mostly the elite. They are lawless. They don't even have anything to do with law, to start with, Nigerian police force. So they reported Elumelu, the billionaire that is in bed with those who are destroying Nigeria, Tony Elumelu, the same criminal who went on to go and make a deal for Bokwari and Afrexim Bank. They gave Bokwari about $5 billion. They used Nigeria crude oil as collateral. That is why today, Nigeria, that was supposed to be getting 300,000 barrels of crude oil every day from the IOCs in Nigeria, they don't have any crude oil to give to Dangote. This is why they don't have any crude oil to give to Dangote. Because of the likes of Tony Elumelu. He will tell you that he's a businessman. He's just doing his own business. But they are the ones who are destroying that contraption. They are the ones who are bankrupting that contraption. Their own corruption and their money laundering for these criminal politicians is like next level one. It was the same Tony Elumelu of that UBA who also went on to again to make a deal with the Afrexim Bank for Tifnumbu last year. when they gave Tifnubu $3.3 billion, a loan that is backed with another thing again, another crude oil. So if Tifnubu doesn't pay back that loan by 2028, Afrexim Bank, the one that is taking crude oil of Nigeria today, that Dangote don't have any access to, the same Afrexim Bank, by 2028, they will be taking 167 million barrels of crude oil from Nigeria. That is $12.6 billion worth of crude oil they will take for a loan of $3.3 billion that they gave to Tifnubu to go and defend the Naira. The same Elumelu. Now, if he feels offended, if he feels that this information is a lie, what he needs to do is what? Sue the person who says it. Take him to court. Okay? And then all evidence, all documents, all, what do you call it? He will be put in the stand to come and defend if indeed this was also a lie. Now, to cover up all of this, if you say all these things, they call it cyberbullying in Nigeria. You are bullying me. You are bullying us. So the same Elumelu that collected 5% from brokering, I don't know how much he collected, from brokering the $5 billion deal for Bokwari and then Afrexim Bank in 2017. Now, Bokwari is not paying that money. Today, the Nigerian crude oil is being taken by the Afrexim Bank. The same Afrexim Bank is in the new deal. Tifnubu collected this $3.3 billion. They gave him the balance February this year. Tony Elumelu collected his own 5% from it, made this money, smile to the bank. Now, Nigeria, right, is in debt, in this perpetuity of indebtedness. He is in bed with Tifnubu as we speak. So he was the one who wrote a petition. He wrote a petition to the Zone 2 to invite Dele Farotimi. This particular kidnapping is not done by him. This one is done by the Olori Bruku Agbaofo. That Afe Babalola. You know, Afe Babalola was Obasanjo's lawyer. Afe Babalola defended Obasanjo, all his court cases, all his tribunal cases when he was president and all of that. Afe Babalola was cashing out over 10 billion naira from Obasanjo, money paid to him from the federal government of Nigeria. Now he's got his own Afe Babalola University. Money made. He will tell you that he's a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I'm just doing my job. But he is in bed with those who looted Nigeria. And he got his own share for being their lawyer. So this similar, corruption in the judiciary that Dele Farotimi exposed or spoke about, right? He felt offended. And he is a lawyer, a senior lawyer. I want sandpaper, sand, and Olori Bruku Baba. When you begin to actually really, dig into the lives of some of those people you called lawyers in Nigeria, senior advocate of nuisance in Nigeria, you will see their collaboration. Another Olori Bruku lawyer is Pastor Ruga, Ikene Shatabandu, right? There was a time that FISA did a drug test, like a drug test on children, polio drug test or what have you. And the thing went bad, right? People died. Children died. So then Nigeria now sued FISA. That they were going to collect $7 billion. Guess the company that represented FISA in that case? Pastor Ruga. They beat it down so much that they told Pastor Ruga's law firm actually told the court that the life of an American or European or Westerner is more valuable than the life of Africans. Guess how much they finally settled? $6 million from $7 billion. $7 billion. That Pastor Ruga ended up being your vice president for 8 years. And you know what they did? It was the same Pastor Ruga, a lawyer, who was the Attorney General of Lagos State under Tifnubu. All the stolen properties of Lagos State that Tifnubu converted to his name today, or converted to the names of his own associates, they were done by Pastor Ruga. The same way they ensured that all those things that Tifnubu now owns in Lagos, the Lekki, all those things that Tifnubu owns in Lagos today, they own them by law. Who wrote all of that? Who processed all of that? Pastor Ruga, Oshimbade, Ikene Shatabandu. If you look at how they destroyed Nigeria, the roles of all these Olori Brukus, one by one, right? You will realize that when they tell you about your heroes past, when they tell you about your heroes past, you realize that you don't have any heroes past. They are criminals. They are a bunch of criminals. So right now, the Nigerian, the Nigerian police have shown that they will remain a lawless organization working for the highest bidder. While the pressure is on them, they continue to act like the proper criminal organization that they are. Okay? There is no arrest warrant. There is no court that granted that, there was no invitation. There was no arrest warrant. Just the usual Gestapo criminal way, okay, of we have been ordered to go and bring you. And if anybody try to stop us, we shoot you. Rogues. Jare, Professor, tell me that it is not, it's called a FISA or PISA, whatever you want to call it. You shall know what I'm talking about, Abi. And if you do, and if you don't, that's your own cup of tea. But that's actually not the point this evening. The point here is that the people that are helping the ruiners of Nigeria, they are getting their share, and every one of us, that is the old criminal, Afe Babalola. The other one is on the right. These are the faces of the ruiners of that contraption. Free speech is gone. Just remember that. Okay, you are now in what is called the kakistocracy, a state of a state or country run by the worst, least qualified, or most unscrupulous citizens, chancers. They call themselves the elite, but guess what? They believe they can get away with anything. But with the social media, as well as the internet, their days are actually numbered. One by one, every one of them will be demystified. Information about them will be out there. And then a generation that is never going to lick their asses is here. It's just a matter of time. Before what? Before they will meet all their own Waterloo. So they should let DF go. Farotimi is done nothing wrong. Anybody who feels offended, sue him. Now, if they can do that to Dele Farotimi, now you can understand why some people have chosen, right, to just remain silent. And possibly because they don't have the same, they don't have the same societal clouds that the likes of Farotimi commands. They will let him go eventually, because it's like what Yoruba call the Gielira. This particular one, you would have to drop it eventually. But it is to help us understand the kind of system they run in that contraption. It is a lawless place. And if you still probably have a tiny bit of hope for that place, I am not sorry for you. Keep your hope alive if you can, or bury it for your own sake. Now, going forward, Tifnumbu and his gang, they have now escalated, increased the tempo of their tax bill law. A lot has happened in the last 48 hours. Yesterday, Yakubu Dogara is now their poster boy when Channels Television organized a supposed public hearing or public debate on the, on their tax bill, where, as we speak, the supposed NEC, which comprises of all the 30 state governors, they have rejected it. Maybe you do know why, but you'll get to know more. The royal fathers in Nigeria said they have rejected it. Again, you probably will understand why. However, the selling point, which actually makes it more suspicious for somebody like us, is that they are telling the people that this their tax law or tax bill is in the interest of the poor people. Just the same way, if you can remember, I know a lot of you do have what is called the Stockholm syndrome, a very short memory. Memory of, you have the memory of Edun. And that is what this APC, Egbekegbe, will continue to leverage on. Emotion, tribe, religion, regions, all of these things that have kept the Nigerians divided, they are the ingredient that keeps the propaganda of APC, Egbekegbe, floating. I remember that an ordinary people then, even those who didn't agree with Tifnumbu, those who didn't like Tifnumbu agreed that a subsidy must be removed. And to them, it was in the interest of Nigeria, right? Until they realized later that they were deceived into believing that the subsidy removal was in their own interest. Some people still kind of stylishly believe that the subsidy they removed was the reason, I don't know. However, the same people that told you that you should tighten your belt, that told you that if the subsidy removal was going to be for the interest of the country, they ended up increasing their own salaries by over 300%. In fact, it's pretty much like over, 400%, but they announced 104% for the judges and for themselves over 200%. But in reality, that's probably over 1,000%, okay? Because for example, right, the National Assembly members, I'm talking about the Senate and the reps, right? The House of Representatives members, before now, they used to go home with 15 million naira every month, between 15 and 18 million naira. And now, an average House of Representative member goes home with over 33 million naira since after Tifnumbu increased their pay. Senator, an average senator in Nigeria goes home with over 30 million naira before Tifnumbu increased their salary. Today, an average senator in Nigeria goes home with, every month, goes home with 55 million naira, between 55 and 57 million naira, okay, today. But the money is still not enough for them, so to say. Tifnumbu himself, right, spent over 60 billion naira. Out of that, right, 22 billion naira for the house of his vice president. Then another 10 billion naira to renovate the current house of the vice president, Abuja House. 5 billion naira to renovate the vice president's lodge in Lagos, right? That's 32 billion naira. Tifnumbu himself spent over 30 billion naira renovating the Asshole Rock, the same place where Bokwari just parked out, all right? Then the same Tifnumbu spent another 11 billion naira renovating the Dodon Barracks, okay? The presidential lodge in Lagos as well, okay? Then the same Tifnumbu awarded over 20 billion naira for his wife, right? The office of the first lady, to buy cars, to do this, to do that, right? The same Tifnumbu spent over 11 billion naira giving it to Bajabi Abole, the office of the chief of staff. The same Tifnumbu spent over 44 billion naira, allocated to the office of Ribadumbu. I don't know if you remember this, right? And then the same Tifnumbu, right, allocated over 242 billion naira, okay, to the office of the National Assembly guys, all these guys in the National Assembly, after giving each of them 160 million naira cars. 360 plus 109, 369, 469. 469 people collected 160 million naira car each. But that is not including the leadership of the National Assembly. People who told you that removing subsidy is to cut costs and to save money. Then Tifnumbu went on to go and buy a local plane, 150 billion naira. That is not including the how much money they also claimed to have spent in maintaining the presidential fleet of planes. In case if you don't know, I'll tell you. When Bokwari was there, the same Bokwari spent 5.8 billion naira maintaining the presidential fleet in Abuja. Now, Tifnumbu have spent 18 billion naira to maintain the same presidential fleet in 2024 alone, okay? And the money is, you want me to go on and on and on and on, right? And these are the people who told you that, they were removing subsidy to save money. And guess what? The same them said the floating of Nigeria naira was for the interest of Nigeria and the poor. Now, they are in town right now to tell all of you that their tax bill is in the interest of the poor. I know some of you are in support of it because, again, if you cannot fall for the propaganda of APC, you must have some immunity in you. I will never trust anything that these guys pushed out, okay? No matter how good it sounds, we are talking about APC, okay? I will never trust it. And here is Dugara in a town hall meeting, where they call it town hall debate on the bill. And everyone is telling you that the Tifnumbu tax bill is for your own interest. I would never believe that. Here.
Are you and your committee against the North? We have another leader here. He's a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara. He's going to give us a keynote speech for about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, I will start my intervention by thanking Mr. Sheun for inviting me to participate in this town hall. Before now, I thought that we have flurry of experts, both in leadership positions and in the National Assembly, so issues of taxation shouldn't be this complex and obfuscating to a point where we will be stuck in a binge-watching rut that we're presently under. So when I got that invitation, I did tell him, I'm not going to participate. I need to see the bills myself because I want to be 100% convinced of what I will say. So they quickly dispatched the bills to me, and I have them there. I have studied these bills, the two most important bills. The other two are establishment bills. And I don't intend to speak to the details because we have heard from Mr. Taiwo, who chaired the committee that produced this wonderful piece of legislation that's before the National Assembly. I've been in the National Assembly for 16 years, and I must say that I've seen very few bills that can be compared to the bills they produce in terms of quality, the originality of thought, and in terms of effect that we will have on our larger economic ecosystem. Having done that, I still, as a representative that I am, I thought that it's not even good enough for me to just come here and present my opinion. So I summoned some of my brothers, leaders in their own right, across all sectors, most of them, almost all of them northerners like me, to say, come, let's look at this thing dispassionately. What is the problem? What are people complaining about? And honestly speaking, I don't begrudge noise in a democracy. As a matter of fact, the more noise your democracy generates, the more functional it is. The only problem it is, if you allow the noise to degenerate into violence, that is where you have a problem. And then we sit down and look at some of these major objections that are coming from across some of our leaders in the north and some of our brothers. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I'm here as a student. I want to learn. But because I have studied this, nothing precludes me from saying my opinion. As a matter of fact, the moment they announced, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, that I'll be participating in this discussion, my phone almost broke. So many pleaded with me. That was why I knew how important this is. Some were even pleading with me not to even show up. I said, no, but that's not leadership. Even if I disagree, I should go there and tell them that I disagree. So let's look at some of these objections that have been raised. I will address the question of leadership. And my appeal to all of us here, we are all leaders. We should remove the cap of regionalism, the cap of sectionalism, cap of religion, and put on the cap of leadership. Because that is what will resolve the current problems that we have. I think
I'm going to save us our time. Then he went on and on and on of how this is the best thing. It is, all these people's complain. It's not that bad. It is for the good of Nigeria. Nigerians are going to enjoy it. In fact, it's the best thing to ever happen. Yeah. And me listening to them yesterday, I just kind of felt like I'm listening to this same crop of criminals that were convincing Nigerians last year how amazing, how bold it was for Tifnumbu to remove subsidy. How in the next 1 year, the price of petroleum will begin to come down. How when Dangote Refinery comes on board, how everything is going to be, in fact, how the people who are benefiting from the subsidy were the rich people sharing the money. It is not reflecting in the life. So petroleum price jumped from 167 naira to 610 naira, then to 1,100 naira, which is it is today. But Tifnumbu and his gang, they continue to pay what is now called dollar subsidy, which they are hiding from you. They don't call it petrol subsidy anymore. They call it dollar subsidy, where they are ferrying your scarce dollars to the Tifnumbu's appointed receivers now, since Bokwari's time is past. The importation of petroleum to Nigeria skyrocketed, and so was the money. Now they are smiling to the banks every now and then, but you are still paying through your noses, which also affects everything else. Now they are using the sentiment of the broken, what have you, in that contraption, the broken, trust, where the Southerners are feeling like the North, which has been a parasite for so long, right? They are going to actually go and find a way of finding their own money. And the South will now keep their own money. So they went on and on and on, which is now the campaign, by the way. And they are those who have bought into it, or even on this platform, those who have bought into it conveniently. But in 6 months, I pray, see, listen to me, I actually really pray that Tifnumbu roughen it and pass it and dare them. So that, like those of you who defended why Tifnumbu, a criminal, was the right person to remove your subsidy. Because you believed that even though subsidy was like a long overdue, it should have been removed. No, the people are not benefiting from it. Those of you who spoke in support of it that time, today you are still waiting for the benefit of the subsidy removal. Rather than it to benefit you, rather than for them to actually really have money from it, saved, what have you gone? You've gone into much indebtedness still. Yes, you have. So that when Tifnumbu pushed this is a fraudulent bill, right? When they push it, like majority of you have been probably, promoting in 6 months time or in a year time, so that we can come back again and be like, they don't scam us again, because that is exactly what you're going to get. The fancy words they have been speaking, all those fancy words they are preaching here and there, right? Don't worry. I pray, I actually hope that Tifnumbu, because I pray that it will never stop. In fact, it will dare them like some of you are already saying. It should dare them. It should push it. It's for the interest of the poor. It's for the interest of the poor. Interest of the poor. Tifnumbu and the interest of the poor in the same sentence. Lessons will be learned. From what we have heard, though, from the grapevine, Shitty man, the jeton already. Shitty man is no longer the favorite. And from what we are hearing, this Dogara, Yakubu Dogara, is going to likely be the, if things remain as they are, between Tifnumbu and Shitty man, and those around Shitty man. So Shitty man will be replaced with Yakubu Dogara. So he is doing the job. He is. According to him, he said, the northern Nigeria should be grateful to Tifnumbu for creating livestock ministry. That with livestock ministry, the northern Nigeria will be so rich, so wealthy in this with this Tifnumbu's tax bill. They did ask, they did ask Taiwo Oyedele, the guy behind it anyway, that come, there is a section of that your bill, in one of the bills, right? It says that you are going to establish tax administration, something like that, right? And from it, you have a chance. So, I mean, you have a plan of giving the role of collecting the tax to a third party, something that is in their own bill there. He said, no. It is no, we are not. Are you preparing Afe better? Because what you had in Lagos was that he got to a stage where they almost make Afe better a legal entity that must be collecting taxes for Lagos State. Like they wrote a bill that says collection of taxes in Lagos State must be done by Afe better. A bill, but it got rejected anyway. So is there any plan that you are going to, because people are suspicious that this whole thing, Tifnumbu is like this devil. When he gives you a chicken, he's going to probably ask for a son, a whole life from you. He denied. How many things have they denied? That they have shamelessly walked back on that, and they did exactly what they denied. How many times? Don't blame me. We are talking about APC. You are trusting, they trust APC because of the nonsense they wrote in the book. You trusting them. No wahala. Here is the answer. Dogara. I know Yedele.
Controversies, I'm going to ask you pointedly. Are you planning to use a consultant like Afe Bita in Lagos to collect the revenues?
The answer is no. In fact, we had a very interesting debate at the committee level. I wanted to put a language in the law that says no government should use a consultant to collect tax. We think that that's one of the biggest problems in our economy today. So I can confirm to you 100% there is no plan whatsoever in using consultant to do any of this. The FRS has a tax promax that they had implemented. All that we need to do once we pass these bills, go to that system and amend the language, the algorithm, so that next time MTN is filing VAT returns, there's a request that says, tell me the states where they have emanated from. Should they give wrong information, there's a provision there for them to be penalized. Dangote will do the same thing. Banks will do the same thing. So we have the capacity already. We do not need consultant.
Okay. The second question I'd like to
Actually taking time to count the cost. So, as far as I'm concerned, to escalate this trust, I love what the chairman said. That for those who fear that the president has an agenda to impose Afe Beta on revenue collection in Nigeria, it is important for us to dispel that by the instrument of the amendment he was just talking about. For instance, there's nothing stopping us at the level of National Assembly to say, look, we will introduce a proviso in this law that says that in executing this law, the National Nigerian Revenue Service shall not have recourse to consultants. That solves the problem. And if the president were to say, no, I'm not going to sign it for that clause, then everybody will now know, oh, yes, he really wanted to introduce Afe Beta. But I told someone, I said, well, if you really believe that that is the problem, why they are in a hurry? Do you think there's anything stopping the president, for instance, from introducing Afe Beta right now? He said no.
You can't trust them. That's the point. Not as if there's anything any of you listening to me right now can do. But what you should not do is to convince yourself that Tifnumbu and his gang, including Taiwo Oyedele, that they mean well. That will be self-sabotage. They don't mean well. They are as evil as they come. The interest of the South, the interest of the East or West or anywhere is not the interest of Tifnumbu. This whole thing is a smoke screen. And of course, yeah, when the North cries wolf, some of us will probably just want to see them even cry more as the consequences of their born to rule mentality. But in the process, you are burning yourselves too. Today, the policies of Tinubu, they have rendered people poorer, wretched. And it doesn't matter where you come from. No one is spared. So there's no point in staying or acting aloof. You hear that? Okay, if all of you are suspecting that it's going to bring in Alpha Beta, okay, maybe the National Assembly should amend the section of their law. They are not denying the fact that it is there, a third party can be empowered to collect taxes for them. They are not denying that. He's only saying that he proposed at the committee level that we should try and make it a law that the government cannot employ a third party, because presently it is a practice. They employ third parties to collect taxes. Most of the taxes are never remitted. That is what he is now saying he's trying to stop. I'm going to try and stop the people collecting the taxes and not remitting them, because they're like multiple, quadruple taxes, so many taxes that people are being charged left, right, and center, but the money never even make it to the cover. So if we can reduce all these taxes, and make sure that you know, the ones that are being collected, right, they make it to the end, then the sharing ratio will be presently, right? Presently, the sharing arrangement in Nigeria is that they have the one they call the equality, they have the one they call the derivation, and then they have the one again, the derivation, equality, population. Okay, so presently they use population, right, as equality, population, and derivation. So derivation is 50%, equality is 20%, population is 30%. So if you have a population, right, you will get 30% of the, you get the 30% of the money based on your population size. Sure, you get. So, but what they are now proposing is that, you know, equality. I think equality will be 50%. Okay, you know what? There's a part I'm going to share that with you. Okay. So one of the persons who is speaking on this is that Taiwo Oyedele. So, and was talking about the concerns of the North, who are campaigning seriously that Tinubu want to exterminate them. He want to, you know, he want to pie them. Here is Oyedele answering some of their concerns. Now he's already dressing like them. Here you get, he's dressing like them to appease them in the North. Listen.
And we're not looking at any regions. We think everybody will benefit.
Okay, they also have brought up the issue of equity, which also your reform is trying to address. They cite issues such as the North isn't producing as much. They've been bedeviled by insecurity. Some people have even limited this conversation to alcohol consumption and destruction versus agricultural produce. So if you can explain that further to explain where the equity comes in here. And, you know, speaking to what you've just said, I wonder why Lagos even agreed. Lagos should be the one throwing tantrums, but Lagos agreed. Yet the North is not agreeing. But speak to that conversation about the equity. Where is the equity in all of this?
Yeah, I don't think it's about whether Lagos agreed. I think Lagos is just more understanding. Because for them, if you do the correction, they'll lose out. But if you increase the amount you share based on derivation, they get a bit of that back. So the impact of them should be moderate. But in terms of the equity, so again, this is why it's important to always speak to data.
Yeah.
So people would say, well, they don't allow alcohol in the North, they don't allow tobacco, and then they're sharing the VAT. But guess what? The contribution of tobacco, alcohol to VAT is less than 3%. Just about 2-point-something%. So it's
very minimal.
It's minimal. That's the first point. The second point is when it comes to food, we have more food production coming from the North, and food is exempt from VAT. Our proposal is going to make it 0 VAT, so you even remove any traces of VAT at all. But for us, we said, why are we recognizing the contribution of every state based on the VAT we've collected? rather than the production that they have made. So there's no law by the United Nations or anybody that says you must count the VAT. We're saying, why don't we count the value of the production? So that becomes the derivation, which we then use as a basis to share the VAT. And this is the most equitable and fair approach that you can even think of. Because take Benue, for example, they produce a lot of food. We said, don't charge VAT on food so that people can be able to afford it. Why do you then punish Benue for producing food for us to eat? If you get to a point where states are enacting their VAT law, Benue will be forced to put VAT on food, and all of us will be in trouble, particularly the poorest people. So we feel that the approach is going to help, and it's not correct when people say that there's no production in the north. That's not what the data is showing us. The largest items that contribute to VAT in Nigeria are telecommunication, you have cement, you have sugar. These items, soft drinks, these items are, in most cases, more heavily consumed in the north, more than even the south. You have a fair share of that distribution across Nigeria. So we don't want it to be a regional conversation because it is not. That's not what the data is showing us. But in addition to that, we have this 5% that we ask the federal government to cede to states. And we believe that can be available as a stabilization transfer to ensure that any state that has significant shortfall in their revenue as a result of our proposal can then be compensated from that stabilization fund. In other words, the federal government takes 10% as against the current 15% they're getting. But let me ask you, I mean, the bills passed second reading on the floor of the Senate today. It's not yet Uhuru. It's a long journey to go. What do you envisage as it enters the public hearing stage? Do you envisage a situation where perhaps you'll be forced to change?
If you believe them, you're on your own. I have heard people who have said, oh, this guy, you see that guy, Taiwo Oyedele, is a brilliant chap. Like he is a very, if you go and check his CV, when it comes to taxation, he's a brilliant chap. And somebody like that is a perfect criminal to use by the likes of Etifnumbu. Because he can sit down and use all the taxation terminologies to finish una. Una go just sit down there and be like, okay. Wow. Wow. You'll be sounding like an ambulance listening to him. It is only when it comes to that implementation that you will realize that you have been scammed and there is no coming back from that. Do you understand? The guy said they must not increase the VAT. When Nigeria was under Bokwari in 2017, they were proposing to increase the VAT back then from 5% to 7.5%. So he said that you cannot be taxing the poor in that regard. He said a lot. But right now, he's proposing that the VAT from January, from next month, is going to be, it's currently 7.5%, so it's going to 10%. Then by June next year, it's going to go to maybe 15%. Before the end of next year, it is likely going to go to 20%. But it's now telling them that we are removing some certain stuff from VAT. You won't pay VAT on them. And some mumus, they are doing wow. Wow. Oh, wow. APC, Egbekebe, is telling you something that it is in your favor. It is in your interest, and you believe it. You want to believe it. You the trust man. Uju Abu, you go hear him. Again, I am going to possibly be the last person that you want to hear this truth from. Because most of what I will tell you, they are not things that are probably happening yet. They are things that will happen later. And then you look back and be like, no wonder Mayegun was skeptical about the whole thing, because it's fraud. It is like a fraud hidden in plain sight. It is in your interest. It is for your own good. This country needs a reform. This country needs a nye. But they are spending like a drunk sailor. They are spending money. They do not have any fiscal discipline. You are watching them frittering away your commonwealth. But they are telling you that they are doing reform to balance fiscal, kiniko, and you believe them. You do. Fine. One of the guys invited to, because the first day they passed it at the National Assembly. So sorry, the day they passed the second reading. One of the guys who spoke was Seriake Dixon. He's from Bayelsa State, former Bayelsa governor. According to him, because they gave all of them the copy, they all have the staff to advise them on the bill, on the 4 bills, right? And according to him, he said, whether you like it or not, we are going to pass it. Yeah, we are going to pass it. Heaven will not fall. That is true. If Numu removed fuel subsidy, heaven will not fall. Now people just they die slowly. Seriake Dixon.
River State is about 11,000 something. Very small difference. So what they did was to split the state, the old River State, our old River State, into almost 2 equal parts. Now, what is Bayelsa is 8 local governments. Bayelsa is like 4 times Lagos State, the landmass.
Landmass, yeah.
4 times. People don't know. Bayelsa is like, there are some states in the southeast that Bayelsa is like 3 times the landmass and the water bodies. But yet, 8 local governments. So I just wanted that clarification. Now, if you are talking of benefits and fairness, as I told my colleagues in both the closed session and the plenary, look, we go by what is fair and what is right. And they all know that about me. What is right, we'll support it. What has to be opposed in the national interest. And I always advise that we do so not from a narrow ethnic or religious perspective. But let us disagree as national leaders, as national players. Because in the National Assembly, we are national leaders, okay? Now, look at this. The scenario now is that if you look at the sharing formula, the old formula, there are 2 ways to look at it. The first is the one from up to down. The state, local governments take 35%. States are taking, local governments are taking 35%. States, with your existing formula, the states will now take the rest, and then the federal government takes 15. You understand? Now, the new proposal is that states, it will change a little. States will now take 50%. And then the states, the LGs will now retain their 35%. The federal own has been reduced from 15 to 10. So between you and I disagree with that. And those are issues when we come, we will sort out. Okay? I think that the Federation has a lot of challenges, and this is not the time to reduce.
There are 2 things.
Okay? Yeah. Now, when you come to the other one that is shared across the states, which is where I think some concerns are being raised, I think the existing formula is that what is going to the states, they share it 50% on the basis of equality of states. Okay? All states equally. Then they now take 30% on the basis of population. Okay? And then the remaining 20%, they do it on derivation. That's the existing formula. What is being proposed, the section on this, what is being proposed, and I think that's where some concerns are being raised, where states say it could affect their revenue. And that concern is not a wrong concern. It's a legitimate conversation.
So the governors they're legitimately...
This is a democracy. Yeah. I believe in consensus building, networking, consultation, agreement and disagreement in the national interest. Okay? Now, in that new formula that is proposed, remember 50% was for equality of states. Now, what is being proposed is that 60% will go to derivation. That is, states producing they get 60% of what you produce.
Yeah.
Okay? 20% on equality and 20% on population. That is what is contained. Now, I don't see anything unfair in this. Remember, I'm a federalist. And if you follow the doctrines of federalism, what it means is that states that produce, we're talking of tax revenue for God's sake. And VAT, that everybody is talking about, VAT, as I told my colleagues, it's not a production tax, it's a consumption tax.
Yeah.
In other words, if I'm in Bayelsa and I buy card, I buy cement, Dangote cement or Bua cement, and somebody buys Kai, what it means is that the VAT attendant to it should accrue to the state. Because VAT essentially is a state tax. Because it is a consumption tax. It's not a production tax. What we have done is, because of our peculiar reasons, we have now decided to centralize the collection. And over the years, to enable everyone have some sense of belonging, enable everyone get on food and manage, over the years, they formulated that system by which everybody has a share. But they are not jettisoning it. And the danger is that, there's a challenge. I also raised a lot of those issues as governor. Against FIRS, at the neck, and so on. There is a challenge by some governors at the Supreme Court saying that VAT being a state consumption tax, the states where things are produced and consumed
should be collecting it.
Should collect it and have it all at the Supreme Court. What I think that these legislations are trying to do, if we can build consensus fast enough, okay, and get them passed and signed into law, then it will now have a situation where states can still have the advantage of having 20% on the basis of equality, have another 20% on the basis of population, while the remaining 60% goes to states that have that enjoy it. Now, there's no state that does not generate VAT. Because consumption takes place everywhere.
Let me quickly take you on this one. I mean, by the way, thank you so much for the clarification that you made on
can I just...
But the problem here is this: trust. Even among themselves, they do not trust themselves. Because you see, data Yahweh gone, data stubborn gone. But when it comes to data, with the Tifnumbu and his gang, they don't really care about data. It is so funny that these same people the same guys that Tifnumbu told us that now statistics will go shop, they are now the ones trying to make people see reason why that this is going to be your advantage. We can tell you, we'll be the one to tell you how much consumption tax or production tax we are taking from your states. The same criminals who dropped the over 70% unemployment rate, they dropped it to 4.8% by just falsifying the figure and pushing a propaganda on it. The same people, so they are the one you have to actually entrust, like you have to entrust them with giving you the accurate data to say, okay, your consumption tax in Kogi State is 1 billion. The consumption tax for River State is 7 billion. Like, they are the ones you have to trust. They are like saying, trust us. I won't trust them. That's among them, though, right? I won't. Because the man himself once said, Shena statistics will go shop.
I think na statistic will go chop. A lie with arithmetic that no Indian can solve it.
So the same group of people are now saying, no, don't worry, we can tell you. how much alcohol is consumed in Kano, even though officially you are not supposed to consume alcohol in Kano. You get that now? We can give you the data. Don't worry. You see, we are reworking it. I won't trust them though. You know, but they are pushing it. So the last time that they debated it, the second time they passed it in the National Assembly, second reading rather, Barao, Jubri Barao from Kano, the Deputy Senate President, Akpabiole's deputy, was the one on seat then. And the people of Kano, they took it personal. They went after him. They believe that he is one of those being used by Tifnumbu to further destroy them economically by reducing what they will eventually get. Because as it is right now, most of the company paying some of these consumption taxes, each one, they are making their money from other places, but they are paying their taxes in Lagos. Like Dangote. Dangote is making his money from Ogun State, making his money from Cemento, from Kogi State, Obajana, making his money from a few other places like that. But he pays a huge chunk of taxes in Lagos. A lot of it. So if the data is right, Dangote would have to go and pay it in Kogi. But Dangote, according to this, their new bill, right, doesn't have to go and pay it in Kogi. Tifnumbu's people will tell you how much money they have taken from Dangote and how much of it is not for Lagos but for Kogi. Trust us. I don't feel like for you. Just trust me, bro. Kind of arrangement. So the Kano people took it personal. They went after Barao. And yeah, somebody has something to say about that. Here.
85%. But Northern youth say they are angry. Northern leaders say no. Northern Governors Forum say no. How is this a disadvantage for the North? Where do you stand in this matter?
Yeah, you see, first and foremost, the attack by the Northern Youth Assembly is uncalled for because the Deputy Senate President, going by the function and the duties of the Senate President, have to deputize on behalf of the Senate President. And the Deputy Senate President, who was a chairman of the Committee of the Whole and who presided over the proceedings when the bill was passed for second reading, is doing his duties as a Deputy Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So some of these youth were misinformed, and all the attacks, blackmail, mischief-making is politically motivated against the Deputy Senate President. That is my own stand on that aspect. It's not an issue of insensitivity against the northern region. So on the issue of the Nigerian tax reform bills, these bills are 4 bills which have been transmitted to the National Assembly for deliberation by the executive arms of government. That is the Nigeria Revenue Joint Vote, Nigeria Tax Administration Establishment Bill, Nigeria Tax Bill, and also Nigeria Tax Administration Bills. All these reforms have been transmitted to the National Assembly for deliberation. All these controversies are avoidable if are being carefully handled. This Northern Governors Forum rejected the new tax reform bills. National Economic Council, which is the composition of the state governors from the northern and the southern extraction, rejected the tax reform bills. Traditional rulers and even Northern Democratic Leagues, and other Islamic clerics. But the most important aspect is for a wider consultation. Most of these governors who have been trying to reject or have rejected the new tax reform bills have not deeply go into the details of the bills. The tax administration bill and the tax reform bill. If they have gone deeply on it, the governors will not be crying foul and not be complaining loudly. These governors who are saying that it will increase the hardship, the governors are responsible for the economic failure, insecurity, chronic unemployment, acute poverty, and educational backwardness in the northern region. The northern leaders of today are not compared, you cannot compare them with the northern leaders of yesterday. If you look at the legacies of the late Ahmadu Bello Sardauna of Sokoto, he left a very important economic, social legacies. Today, they are nowhere to be found in the northern Nigeria. Arewa Textile, Bank of the North, New Nigerian Newspaper, Northern Nigeria Development Corporation, and many economic enterprise. Kaduna Refinery is not working. When the Mr. President also withdrew the police subsidy, which of the governors in the northern region have complained loudly or cried foul? When the electricity tariff have been increased, which of the governors have cried loudly or complained loudly that the other segment of the country is substanding the northern extraction? So these leaders of today are power drunk, and they are intoxicated by politics, and they only want this money to be allocated to them from the federation account for personal enrichment, not for development of the northern region.
All right. Okay.
So
you get all of that. To him, the younger people from northern Nigeria that are attacking Barawo, Jubri, the deputy Senate president, they are misinformed, because the backwardness of the North today is not caused by Tifnumbu, but by the political class of the North. He's right on that. He is. Maybe not totally right, because Tifnumbu's policies have even added to the whatever backwardness the northern Nigeria has been facing. Similarly, we now have the Alimajiri in the south as well, no thanks to Bokuwari and Tifnumbu. The last 18 months of people's lives in southern part of Nigeria as well, right? Can't be like, say, Bokuwari was like a, it was like a savior, if you compare both. But the bottom line is this, right? There are those who believe that if everyone may fall, there's never been any real benefit anyway. You understand? Like, if they say, oh, we are going to have less money, this bill is going to give us less money. And they're like, well, when you are actually getting more money, what was the benefit? Especially to northern Nigeria. What was the exact benefit, Gogo? There was no real benefit. So if you are coming out there and you are like screaming and all of that, you are posting it, blah, blah, blah. He even said that some of them never read the bills. That's one argument that some people in support of Tifnumbu, they themselves have not read the bill. But their line of argument is that people who are criticizing it have not read it. I know some of you too, you have not read the bill. You're just listening to opinions here and there. I have. I shared the link to the bill on this platform the last time we were here. I don't think many of you probably touched it or opened it. Did you? I'm not good at cramming. I would have been quoting section, subsection for you. And that's how I got to see the fraud. Too much words, too many words. Reading, some of them repetition. But you can see, it's like hiding fraud in plain sight. They know that you won't read it. Yeah? Over 200 pages. Who won't read all of that? People will be like, who won't read all of that? I don't get time, Jerry. Tell me what's in the stock. What did they say? What did they say inside it, Mayegu? They said that they will strangulate you in another 1 or 2 years. Or they said, in another 1 or 2 years, you are going to be living in wealth. Everybody will be fine. Are you sure? Yes. That's exactly what most people are following. And I understand. I do understand why people have become so frustrated enough that who want to read all of that? You should. I can get you a copy again if you want to. Or you can Google it. It's right there online. Try. After this program, try and read it. I know you probably will not really understand it. But it is a fraud hidden in plain sight. Obarawo has his own supporters who also stormed the National Assembly today. That they support the bill. Do you think these ones have read it? These ones, do they even understand what it is all about?
That the tax reform bill is in order and Nigerians should work towards its perfection and also her progress.
Yes, sir.
For so long, we have lived on a decadence of tax reforms that has not produced anything good or meaningful to this nation. We from the north, we are categorically in support of this tax reform bill. And let me tell you one thing. To those who have for the past few days castigating Senator Jibril Baro, they are nothing but enemies of the north, enemies of Nigeria, enemies of our generation, enemies of progress, and they are supporters of disrogation. We call on Nigerians here, as we have vowed, we shall continue to voice from one state to the other, from one region, from Middle Belt, from North Central, Northwest, Northeast. We shall canvass, and this bill, by the grace of God, shall see the light of the day. Amen. We pray that Mr. President will not relent. The President of the Senate, supported by Senator Jibril Baro, Deputy Senate President, must ensure that this very bill is looked into properly and see that it is passed. It's a germane issue. It is something that is overdue. It is something that Nigerians should look forward to making progress. We cannot continue to stand stagnant. This is our own generation. Generations of those who have led this country in the past have failed us. We are in support of this very generation. The man himself, who is the chairman of the tax review, came out to list what people we are thinking before. We are just personal things that will Alpha consultant. Will it be the consultant of the entire project? These are small, little, too cheap things. What we are looking at is what comes to the states. And the man has said that, for instance, now, if you have formally you have 5%, with this reform bill now, you should be able to have about 15 to 20%. So it's a progress. We cannot continue to stand stagnant for decades, years and years. So this is just what we need. My name is Atijani Kabir Mohammed.
Alpha consultant. In Abuja, if you have money, you can mobilize 1,500 people and give them placard. They do it all the time to start with. In Kogi, They are also deliberating on it, what they stand to gain. And one of them was explaining to the people why this bill will actually help them in Kogi too, in his own explanation.
We have created a lot of economic activities, all of us sitting here. So most of you have made call, and some of you are still calling. And as you are making the call, they are taxing you. And whatever you are going to get as tax, when they are paying, they will pay in Lagos, because the headquarters of the company is in Lagos. And when the money hits to Lagos, Lagos will benefit. So all of us will get nothing from it, because the law, the existing law, supported the point of remittance. It's not talking of the point where you consume it. After the network, we have people that we have Dangote. Dangote should be, if not the highest, should be the second in terms of payment of VAT in Nigeria. The company is here. And also we have Manga. When they are paying their VAT, they pay in Lagos. What we enjoy here in Kogi is the degradation of our roads. They help us to spoil the road and making the government to be sweating, while we are not getting anything. So we want to now sit down and say, this law, let's find a way of determining what was consumed in Kogi, so that if they are to pay anything in terms of derivation they are talking about, even though it is 60%, it can benefit Kogi State. If it's at the point of consumption, and we know this thing will favor us with enough data, we don't say, please, even this 60% you are looking for is too small. Let's make it 80, so that Kogi can get enough money. But we need to develop this state to make it very attractive. It is not just a thing that only us can do. We can do it when all of us sit down and look at the bills and other things critically for the betterment of all of us. Thank God there is no minimum wage, of which my governor, the chief servant, is the first to announce, implement, and people are enjoying it. We have created a lot of economic activities.
I mean, it's quite interesting though, right? That people are discussing an attempt of Tifnumbu to put all of Una inside one pangolo and make you feel like it is in your own interest. And then you see those who are in support and those who are against. If you want to read it, maybe after the program, sit down and just go through it, all right? I send the link into the comments. Take your time, just for the education, for educational purposes only. Just, read it. You see the whole thing than what everyone is telling you. You will see the old scam hidden in plain sight. Here. That's the copy. The link is in the comment section, right? A bill, there are like 4 bills. Okay, 4. And all of them are just about collecting taxes, different kind of taxes. Even though the only one that people talk most about is the consumption tax, which is the VAT. And then the sharing. The companies that will pay it, those who are not going to pay tax. But, you are going, once you escape this one, you can possibly not really escape the other one. Something that, just put honey on top stone and call it, maybe call it honey bread. You get? And what you have to do is that once it's only when people begin to consume it. First thing when you take it, more honey bread. You don't know that it's actually stone, okay? Oh my God, it's so sweet. Honey bread. Oh my God. Oh my God. Then, 50 to your, 5. I will be here. APC telling you that something is in your interest and you actually believe them. I shall be here. Tifnumbu told people that all of you now, you have been living fake good life before he came to power. Yeah? He said, that you are buying a liter of petroleum, or you are spending 200 naira for your on your transportation, those are fake good life. That you are able to feed your children, you are able to fuel your car, you are able to run your business despite the hostile environment that they have created for business people in that contraption. That all of that were fake good life. And you do not deserve that. So right now, it is, whatever you are going through right now in that contraption is the real life now. It is the real life. That some of you have had to pack your cars. Some of you have had to lose your jobs. Some of you have had to choose between paying for your medication or just going to Uriuke for prayer, to pray to God to heal you, right? You have to choose between this or that to stay alive. That is the real life. From Chief Numbu, inside the Arise studio, they had a chat around that earlier.
Thought they lived or they were living prior to his administration was fake and capable of collapsing the country. The president, who was represented by Wahab Egbewole, the vice chancellor of the University of Ilorin, spoke over the weekend during a convocation ceremony of the Federal University of Technology, Akure in Ondo State. Tinubu was quoted to have said that the removal of petrol subsidy and the unification of exchange rates were necessary to save Nigeria from the brink of collapse. Well, he's quoted as saying, unfortunately, the good life we thought we were living was a fake one that was capable of leading the country to a total collapse unless drastic efforts were urgently taken. The need to salvage the future of our children and bring the country back from its brink of collapse necessitated the strategic decisions to remove the fuel subsidy and also unify the exchange rates. I am not unaware of the consequences of the tough decisions on our people. I sincerely wish there could be softer options. Rufi.
With due respect, this is wrong. Nigerians were not living any fake life. It was not as if when the first subsidy was there, life was a whole lot better for Nigerians. It was just a measure to make things easier. There was still massive poverty. There was still massive pain. Even when Nigerians went abroad and they claimed they subsidized the naira, to the dollar, which was about 600, 700 then, how many people could really even afford that money? The economy was depressed. So you say Nigeria was living fake life. There was no living, it was not that we're living in paradise. But what we're telling President Tinubu every time is, did you think of the effect of destroying the lives further and devaluing the lives before you embarked on it? Mr. Cardozo was saying that they've saved over 6 trillion on subsidies for forex. Ask him how much in our GDP has reduced since all of these 2 monstrous measures have taken place in Nigeria. I can give you some figures. Nigeria's GDP, as at when the APC met it in 2015, before they decided to go ahead and lead us on this path of destruction, was inching close to 500 billion. Today, the GDP is more than half of that amount. The lives have been destroyed. Some projection says our GDP is now 199 billion. Do you want to prorate that in trillions of naira of how much has been lost in this economy? So they have not been productive. Is it the corruption we want to talk about? Is it the fakery that is going on? They are the ones that are fake. Do you know how many times they've told us Port Harcourt Refinery is ready? Is that not the one giving us fake news? Didn't they tell us that it was mechanically complete at the start of the year? They said it was going to be ready in August, not ready. Now, and please, for the sake of people, what they did was simply a production unit churned out, the naphtha that they now have to go and blend with C5, cracked C5, because they don't have the converter unit that will convert the naphtha, the hydrocarbons in there, into something of high octane ratings. That refinery is not 100% complete. This is something they've took 1.5 billion for over 44 months. We are already 42 months away. Techni Monti announced that thing on the 6th of April, 2021. 42 months down the line. Technical Monte's announcement was that by 44 months' time, both complexes, the 150,000 barrel refinery and 60,000, will be working. 42 months in, they've just achieved 70% of the 60,000 barrels because they don't have a converting unit. Now, for all of those that are saying blending is an international practice, if you have a full-on converting unit, once you provide the naphtha, you have a converter that will be able to crack further the hydrocarbon. You don't need to go and get a standard C5 and now blend. Why is Dangote Refinery not doing that? Because they have the full-on units. So people should stop deceiving people. And the NNPC, after we revealed their lies, even confirmed that that's what they are doing. That they are taking the naphtha they are providing from their own column and they are going to crack it with, blending with crack C5. They are getting from Indorama. So they are the ones that have been faking Nigerians all this while. All the projects, the money they said they were going to save, invest in other projects, they've been faking Nigerians, or they are the ones that have been lying to Nigerians. They are the ones that are living fake life. Is President Tinubu not the one living fake life? A country that doesn't have money, you are buying new private jets, presidential jets, that you didn't even pass through the National Assembly. Today, we don't know how much to spend on that big, bogus jet. Is that not fake life? Stop.
Because that's exactly what the Ronukus I've always been telling you. We need to remove, the reason why we removed subsidy was because we are living fake life. It was for your own interests. And then the voluntary slaves. Ah, man, Nigerians don't suffer. Chai. Una don't suffer. Abusive relationship. You know something about abusive relationship? Stockholm syndrome. You always blame yourself. It is your fault. When your abusive partner smash your head, slap you, kick you, do all of that, you begin to blame yourself that maybe you are the one who made them angry. Or maybe if I am acting nice, maybe he's going to, he loves me. He says he loves me. And I think he loves me. I must have offended, I must have provoked him. It must be my fault that he is so angry. I need to act nice next time. Oh, it is my fault that the Nigerian naira is falling. It is our fault because we all love to live fake life. They said it's because we are living fake life. That is why the Nigeria refinery is not working. That is why we are importing fuel. Oh, that is why, because we love to eat rice. And that is why the whole thing is expensive. Maybe we should start eating gari. Or maybe we should even be, why are we even eating 3 times a day? Who was that doctor? Who actually brought the idea of eating 3 times a day? When we can always eat once a day or twice at most. We need to be disciplined. See, if we want our naira to work, we need to go back to farm. All of us need to go back to farm. We need to begin to grow food. We need not the criminals whose policies, failures, have brought about this destructive existence that you are witnessing in that contraption today. Not them. Our leaders are trying, and they cannot do everything. All of us, we need to do something ourselves. Let me tell you something. It is not the fault of our leaders. What about you? How many people have you helped in your community? How many people have you given food? We should know that we should be helping people. It's not everything government. Abusive relationship. It is always your fault. It is your fault that you are eating rice and chicken, princess. That's why you are complaining that chicken and rice is expensive. Why can't you eat a tuwo shinkafa? Must you eat 3 times a day? Let us tell ourselves, it's not even healthy. If you see some people, everything is food. Can't you talk about something else? Must you talk about food? Abusive relationship. And the criminal politicians are pretty much like, they can never thank their stars enough. 2 days ago, Obi said, don't let anybody tell you that Nigeria is poor. Okay.
So everybody, and you can go on and on. And what they give is the excuse. So you must use the measures other people use. Let nobody tell you Nigeria is a poor country. It's a very rich country. It's a country that can feed itself. Today, Ukraine is at war. But Ukraine sends grain to Nigeria to help them fight hunger. Because we are number 109 hungriest country in the world. You must help to change that. All these territories you're seeing are agricultural field. So they tell you about Sambisa Forest. It's an agricultural field. It's a very simple thing. I don't think it will take you more than 3 hours or 4 hours to drive all through the Sambisa Forest. But I can tell you that if you go to Morocco today, from Casablanca to Port of Tangier, it's about 366 kilometers or thereabout. And it takes you 4.5 hours. And on both sides, all you will see is cultivated land that will feed the people. We can't have such places threatening us. It just shows we don't have competent leaders. We have capacity, we have compassion, we have vision to be able to do anything. And that is where you belong. And that is what you have to do. So I urge you, as we celebrate our founder, you could see what you're celebrating today is vision. And that's leadership. Because if he didn't think about it, he wouldn't be here. So we must change our method. You must embrace to live in a society that you can live. You must choose to do what is right today. You must help us to end this suffering of the people. You must choose to live in peace and adopt meritocracy, competency, all this as a measure of selecting those who you live with, you work with, and serve you. You must look at what will benefit the society. You must think for the interest of everybody. You must work to live in a society that is secure. A society that will care for everybody. And it is not rocket science. Other societies are doing it. But it requires people to change their conception and perception and think in the right ways and use the proper ways of measuring development, not adopting their own, not creating their own sin, where you say, Peter, you're not doing well. He will start shouting at everybody and say, I know what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is right, or you don't know where I made this country, or do you know what I saw when I came? That is not leadership. Leadership is to say, I'm wrong. Let's do the right thing. Because you're wrong. Nobody knows everything except an idiot. Leadership is about listening. It's about living a life that is exemplary so people can see it. You don't live a life that is wrong and refuses to change. A leader must be a learner. He must listen and he must learn and be able to make the right choices and ensure that those around.
Continue. 70 years old man.
And what did Tinubu tell you when he was to be held responsible? He sent you back to your governors. Have you forgotten?
Their
brothers and sisters. Yes, I am in charge here today, but you are running a constitutional democracy. I will appeal to you to summon the governors. Some of them, call them up. I'm doing my best to improve the revenue of the country and giving them their due. But they must equally be sympathetic to the populace, and they must consider the need of the local people. People reside in the local government. People are in the local community. That is where they reside. That is where they feed. That is where they garden. That is where they cook. That's where they farm. If the local government are not free, and leaders don't hang on to the number. We have 774 local government. It's just a number. Is it effective? Is it reaching the real people? Who is being held accountable for this money? Maybe we should look and recalibrate one version that was good 4 years ago might not be good today. And when we won the votes, we go to the locals. When we get the votes, we move to Abuja.
Koolu. Abi? Abi? Koolu will say something, I will be like, Abi? Abi? Anyway, away from that, it's not different from this one too. Listen to this Kadobi. The Izaleko Emefiole.
2022 alone, the potential revenue loss due to a less flexible FX regime was approximately 6.2 trillion naira, compared to 4.5 trillion from fuel subsidies. I.e., we have all been complaining about the loss to governors, to the government, federal government's coffers from the fuel subsidy. Yet, the subsidy and the losses from the FX regime that we used to have in the past far exceeded that of the fuel. The real elephant in the room was the losses coming from the FX regime.
Nuisance Lele.
FX regime. The same people that are borrowing money to defend Nigeria Naira. The same criminals that announced the floating of Nigeria Naira. Do you remember that? That it wasn't only subsidy they removed. They also threw Nigeria Naira to the dogs. Then they came back late, initially said, market forces will determine how much Naira we exchange for. No investment in manufacturing sector, no investment in power sector, no investment in production in Nigeria, but they just threw Nigeria Naira into the bins. By the time people were done with that Nigeria Naira, it lost over 1,500% of its value. Then they started defending it again by using the scarce forex to defend the Naira by saying, you cannot sell the Naira more than this. So you take this dollar, okay? We are going to give you this dollar for 1,300 Naira. You must sell it for 1,310 Naira, okay? And this is a devalued naira. A devalued naira that is above 1,700 naira. Then you are getting forex. Okay, the forex you are making from, partially the crude and few other places where you are then even borrowing, right? Then you are now giving the dollars at a cheaper, lesser rate so that you can control how much people exchange the naira dollar. Now, you don't have that surplus of dollars until you run out of your stock. And then the naira went back to the trash again. So these guys have spent over $10 billion defending Nigeria naira. This was the money they gave to themselves. So by sharing the money to fuel importers, and themselves, so to say. They were always announcing it. We have shared $600 million to the Bureau de Change. Remember when they sacked all the Bureau de Change in Nigeria? Then they reissued the license to them, to the ones they preferred. And they started giving them dollars. So that they can reduce their naira going to 2,000 naira to $1, 3,000 naira to $1. So they were using the dollars to defend the naira by sharing dollars at a subsidized rate to Bureau de Change. How if to finish Nigeria? Not to buy Nigeria, Gemma. I can't tell you, say, it's like calling naira and say, hey, you, the economic hitman, Nigeria naira, a pardon, and turn around to blame what it was before them, not what it is with them right now. So the report we received is that the same central bank, they moved some part of central bank to Lagos last year. And the northern Nigeria were mad. Ali Ndume was like crazy because his daughter works for the central bank. And they said that they were doing it because they were usually in Lagos, not in Abuja, that it was Bokwari that moved the branch to Abuja. And for efficiency and space, they were returning them to Lagos. Finally, they've announced that they won't sack them, but they say they are retiring 1,000 people, 1,058 people. Now, from that 1,058 people, they want to retire. They are ready to pay them off. It's like give them severance package, 53 billion naira. They will pay them. They are from northern Nigeria. You know that the North, they are not investing in the education of their people. Now, the northern elites, their children, the children of their clerics and all of that, they are given appointments in the Massa, Central Bank, DMO, all these lucrative sort of agencies in Nigeria. You will see the ratio there is like 70% Northerners, 30% the rest of you Southerners. And that is why, whether na NNPC, whether na CBN, whether it is Nemasa, whether it is in all those places, you will see them there. When it is time for leadership, even if you remove this one, another Northerner is waiting to take over. They put their people there to hold those positions forever. So you would have to go over them. If the president is from the South, you would have to go over some of them to put his own people there, like the impunity system that you run. So Tipnumbu is not only clearing house. In some places, they've secretly sacked some of them. But others that they know that may raise eyebrow, like Central Bank, they are about to sack 1,058 of them. Out of that 1,058, like 900 or so, they are from northern Nigeria, including the children of the powerful politicians, by Emir, Sultan, from the northern Nigeria. But they don't want to sack them. They said, remember they said, if you can't move to Lagos, you can resign. So they've rearranged it now. That, okay, you know what? We are just going to actually retire you. Imagine you getting employment in central bank. After 3 years, they say, you retire. Lord, Nigeria will share help. Nigeria cannot survive it. So Tifnumbu is ready to pay them off. 53 billion naira to pay them pension and say, yeah, retire, go home. And the North is not having that. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. It is about the future. Because the future central bank governor, future deputy central bank governor, all this operation, director of operation, Nigeria printing and minting press. Now, you get now, they were supposed to be positions to be held by Northerners, but they are replacing them with Southerners, especially Yorubas. You as a Yoruba, you probably will be smiling. That is why Nigeria is a fake country. It is not about merit. It is not about meritocracy. It is impunity all in all. You know, impunity. It is man knows man, man knows man. And you will never get any full, what do you call it? You will never get any full potential of the people. Never. So with Tifnumbu, the northern Nigeria don't enter one chance. So today, they had to move it at their National Assembly. And the House of Representatives, they have now given the order to the central bank. No, don't do that. Put a hold on it. Put a hold on what they have already concluded. It's just about the dates. All the 1,058 people they want to sack, they've already received their notification already. They know themselves. They've told them how much they will pay them as they are leaving. The people that will take over the space, they've interviewed them, they've already enlisted them. So whether they do it now or they do it next December, it doesn't really matter. It is a foregone issue. Those ones who brag that Tifnumbu must stop that nonsense of relocating a section of central bank to Lagos. He must stop it. What did they do to them? They cannot do anything. You can't do nada. And some said it is karma. Maybe it is. Maybe it is not. In northern Nigeria right now, it is believed that Tifnumbu is hated more than the way they despised Egberejo Lantern in 2014, 2015. But it seems that they need to be reminded that Tifnumbu is not Jonathan. No. The drug lord is different from a university professor or a university lecturer. Jonathan was a university lecturer. Jonathan was still studying in Bayelsa State, in Rivers State Polytechnic, when Tifnumbu done they sell and move money for drug heroin traffickers in America. He's a drug lord. So now go better tighten your loins. You have no idea what you are up against, or you go here around. So yeah, that's what we have been told, that they may have to put it on hold. They cannot go ahead with that plan right now because it's going to affect the future of northern Nigeria. It can't be like Tifnumbu, can't be like the weapon fashioned against the northern Nigeria. Mumu tickets, Muslim ticket can't be like a cost now. And I don't know, I kind of like it. Yoruba says, now the ancient God, they take time to catch person. You know the God of this 21st century, na Kia God. Kia God, Lord, my jet. Right. And that's just a snippet because, you know, it's not really detailed. Okay, in case if you have to see the announcement next week, Monday, or next month, or next whatever, that 1,058 people retired. Some of them never spend up to 5 years so, in CBN, but they don't retire. They go retire them, but they don't want to call it sack. You know, fair enough, they are going to get paid for living. They just want to ease them out. And same thing is going to happen in so many agencies, parastatals, ministries, and all of that. Before Tifnumbu gets to 2026. I'm just telling you. As for Emefiole, Yeah, they are still holding him. And now it is obvious that when Emefiole printed money for Bokuwari, 27.5 trillion, there's a chance that Emefiole didn't actually give Bokuwari the 27.5 trillion. Emefiole probably makes some for himself too. Emefiole is now the APC, Ebekebe said Diezani. Remember the Diezani stories? Well, today, it came to the news center that the EFCC, they have been given the go-ahead to confiscate over 700 duplexes and then apartments in Abuja. Emefiole and his gang were planning to build 774 houses in an estate, in a land that was, confiscated as well, like Werewike is doing right now. But they started building houses there. Although some people said that the houses and the apartments are not up to 700, but EFCC and others said that they have been given the go-ahead to confiscate 753 houses, apartments. You see, Nigerian criminals are really, really cold-hearted though. Here you get. The same Emefiole moved, nearly $10 billion of Nigerian money and gave it to Dangote for this Dangote refinery. And today, nobody is even so sure how much go as Dangote paid back, how much go did Dangote receive. They said that Nigeria would have 40% of Dangote refinery's share. That's 40%. That's a lot. Today, now only 7% or 6% they say Nigeria have in Dangote refinery. Do you even know that? Dangote came out and said, no, it's only 6%, but they were supposed to pay me so to keep for them 20%. But they didn't pay. Since Nigeria didn't pay, and the money they gave me, you'd only buy them 6% shares. So it's only 6%. Did you know that you have 6% shares in Dangote refinery now? It was supposed to be 40% too. When Emefiole came out last year, May 2023, when they went to go and commission uncompleted Dangote refinery in Lagos, Emefiole told the whole world that Dangote has paid back over 70% of the loan, and there is no record that Dangote paid back a dime. He didn't pay back anything. So Emefiole, as he was printing money for Bokuwari, he was printing money for himself, I think. 753 duplexes and apartments that when completed, they were going to sell each one for over 200 million naira. And it is not Nigerian property. 4 companies commissioned by Emefiole got all this money from the Central Bank of Nigeria, and they started the construction of all these duplexes, apartments in Abuja. If this didn't come to public, in 10 years or so time, or 20, Emefiole's children are going to be called estate moguls, property moguls. Abi? You have the children of some of these looters. Some of them are dead, or some are still alive, and their children today are being called business acumen, with business mogul, stolen money, Nigeria's money. Toyope again in the Arise TV studio, they had this chat around it, and the credit for this clip also goes to them, Arise TV. Listen.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission announced on Monday that it has recovered 753 units of duplexes and other apartments in Abuja that were fraudulently built by a former top brass of the government who is being investigated by the agency. EFCC, in a lengthy post on X, said that the forfeiture of the property is the single largest asset recovery by the agency since its inception in 2003, while some Nigerians on X have questioned the identity of the former government official involved in the crime. Let me take this reaction from Mr. Ebony. He wrote, "What is the name of the former top government official? Which ministry, department, or agency did he head? At what period in time did he head the government MDA he stole the money from? What was the amount he stole from the government's coffers? After the forfeiture of these properties, what next? Will they be sold to recover the stolen fund, or will they be left to rot as it is the norm in Nigeria? These and many more questions need answers in order to enjoy the trust of the public in your activities. I think Mr. Ebony's question quite apt. All of those questions are the sort of questions that we are seeing Nigerians asking the EFCC. They are quick to make this announcement. I mean, the post was quite lengthy. But, you know, we have seen that the EFCC, they would normally post a normal Nigerian. I mean, I did see a picture of Bobrisky after he was arrested and all of that. And we've seen normal Nigerians being posted on their website. So who is this top or former top brass government official who was involved in this scheme? 753 duplexes. Ayo.
People are speculating because, like you mentioned, there shouldn't be a different set of rules for certain Nigerians and another set of rules for more privileged Nigerians. 753 duplexes in Abuja, and I'm sure in a choice part in Abuja. I can't even begin to imagine when you estimate that what that would be in terms of money. How much money must have been stolen to be able to build this estate? The first thing I would say is that, number one, for transparency and to deter, I think there's an element of shame that comes with naming the perpetrators, except it's going to affect the current case in court, because it did say that the person in question is still undergoing the court process. So maybe that's the reason why they've chosen not to reveal the identity. But if the court has ruled that it's been evidence that the person is not able to trace how they got the money to build this estate without linking it to funds that were gotten illegally or funds that belong to the state, then we deserve to know who the person is. The second thing is that we often hear of these recoveries, and kudos, fantastic, EFCC, you've done your job, you've recover the assets. But then what happens to the assets afterwards? Where does it go to? Are they, like the question on X asked, in the spirit of transparency, let Nigerians know the full process, not just this big announcement and celebration of recovery of assets, but actually that to ensure that the loot is not relooted. Because that's what, that's the concern for many Nigerians, that after they find this out, it goes into another person's hands and somebody else, or is sold at a giveaway price to somebody who is a friend of the house. So the process of also disposing of the asset to recover monies to, put back into their coffers is also very important, so that it's an open bid and it's transparent as well. Correct. But it is very sad to see the greed of one man, especially at a time when people are suffering, where you amass, and I'm sure that's not the only thing that this person has done. Yes, there's a lot more. To see that when people are suffering, what you're doing with your office of trust is to enrich yourself in a way that you can never finish spending the money. Some people have forgotten where their properties are. They don't even remember what they have because they've stolen, to the extent that they can't even begin to count how much they have. It's very sad. And beyond this, I have to say lastly, we should have processes to prevent these things from happening. It's not just the recovery of assets, but to ensure that they don't have access. The process by which this person was able to have access to that kind of money, build this, how did they get that sort of money? That's what we should begin to challenge as well.
Dr. Abati, what is the process really about unveiling or revealing the identity of such, persons? We have seen people on Twitter, even the former presidential candidate, Omoyele Sowore, saying that it might be the former CBN governor or all of that. These sort of speculations, are they needed, really?
Which is the reason why, there should be full disclosure. What is important here is the people's right to know. What the EFCC is fighting is corruption, dealing with integrity, questions that have been raised by people's performance when they are in positions. The EFCC has quoted Section 24 of its Enabling Act, which gives it right to trace assets and to go to the courts to ask for the forfeiture of assets. In the ruling, in the judgment in this particular case, the judge was talking about the respondent. Now, in the court documents, in the papers, the respondent will be named, the person who is forfeiting the assets. I think that the non-disclosure is something that bothers the public, and no justification has been provided for that, non-disclosure. The person should be named to prevent the kind of speculation that we have been seeing. That's number one. Number two is that this speaks to the collapse of values, standards in the civil service and public service system in this country. Once upon a time, in this same Nigerian civil service, if you took a car, in fact, you wouldn't even dare, to the office that was more expensive than your monthly salary or the income that is commensurate to your level, then you receive a query. Now, once upon a time in this country, public servants or civil servants traveling could not travel with their wives at public expense. But these days now, some people occupying certain positions, they will travel with their children, they will travel with wives. Full disclosure. They will even send, but do not be wood attachments. What is that? As advanced team. And keep them in hotels.
Please, what is body nobi?
Lamushwan, aka Lamushwan.
You have not heard of body nobi
attachment. Aka Saj Balanko. Aka Saj Balalun.
In addition to their wives,
Lamushwan.
their wives are not. I don't know.
Oh Lord, how
they will be in different locations.
Am I supposed to be laughing? What does this mean?
In any case, what I'm saying is that values have collapsed.
Right.
The third point is about the human being. Greed, because of the failure of our institutions, failure of standards, the greed of persons who have access to the public till has become very expansive. And that is why you will find one human being who will have 753 duplexes. At plot 109, Cadastral Zone C09, Lokogoma District, Abuja, for the benefit of people who may want to go there and see. And the EFCC said, in addition to other apartments, one man.
Dr. Abati has given full disclosure, the address as well.
I think I was having a conversation with Rotus, and I was telling that corruption is the biggest problem. He said, no, our budget is not big enough. Our budget...
What happened to the money that we budgeted?
Look at Mr. Taiwo Yedele was saying yesterday. Our budget is not big enough. It's 31 billion. When you compare to South Africa, that is 5 times our budget. There's massive corruption.
Yeah.
Do you know how many schools this will build? Do you know how many healthcare centers? Do you know how many lives this will save?
Yeah.
So it shows you the level of corruption. But as regards non-disclosure, I will sing a song, Oji.
Tell me.
African China. Rich man waste money, they not they see him face for cry fighter.
Come on.
Poor man waste money, they go show him face for cry fighter. Tell me something I don't know. Rich man go dey holla peya, go do pe. Poor man go dey shout, awala me, make una lead us where. No need this nation to fall inside where.
Right.
Rich man wasting money, they will never see their face.
That is that.
EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the post don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the post don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the post don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the post don enter for power. If you dey do government work, go carry am for head, Maka one day, I got for kwagi na ma o. In another government, one day more, one day, I got for na ma o. EFCC chairman, no dey for jail. Politician wey in the post don enter for power.
EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power.
EFCC now said they cannot do a full disclosure. And they went for Shure. They attacked Shure for saying no. Now, Emefiole, get up. There is a court document to that effect. How could you not tell everybody now when your court document showed that it is Emefiole? You stated it in the court document. Why are you now turning it around and saying that, no, we can't tell you the person? So Shure kind of published that, though. I think I have that here. Let me see if I can put that up on the screen. Well, Shure shared with us the people that own this stolen money. You see that level of greed, Baba? The level of greed in Nigeria. It is total, it is completely out of this world, man. When you tell them that government should build houses, right? Keep houses for the people. Like we have all over the world. Okay? They will tell you that no, government has no money. Because the money has been stolen by few people who believes that it is their turn to loot, and you know what I mean. In all these documents, right, the companies, the 4 companies that Emefiole used, MG Properties, I maybe I should even be mentioning them so that, because it seems I'm going too fast. These are the court documents by the EFCC before the court granted their prayer. The people that actually took over 340 billion naira. 340 billion naira. And it's true, some of these guys, they have looted so much that some of them don't even know where the money is. Some of them died, their families don't even know where the money is, or all the money. They have looted so much money in Nigeria that some of them have lost track of where this money. So why is the EFCC pretend that they cannot do a disclosure when you've already disclosed the owners, the supposed owners, to the courts, and they have come out to say, sorry, we are not the owners. You can take it. Our people stole money, built their estates, and when it became a case of litigation, since it is not their money, they just said, take them. Take the money. I mean, take the estates. 753 uncompleted duplexes and apartments from stolen money. And those people are still walking about. If not China by now, if not China. Yeah? And another guy is there in Abuja right now, the Emperor of Abuja, who put together people today. It was with the weekend was inaugurating a road construction today. All right. And it was a fanfare before he finally asked them that you do for me, I do for you. Abuja today, because with the weekend want to renovate a road somewhere in Abuja. Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. 25 years after democracy. You still have roads like that. You still have areas like that at the capital of Nigeria. And yeah, it's just about, I think it's about 3 or 4 kilometers road. It's an access road. It's not up to 3 kilometers anyway. So they had to throw a party. Everybody, they dance. Hey. And when Werewike came, he told them, this road I am doing for you now. Remember, in 2027, you do for me, I do for you. That means, don't forget that we are building this road now. You go vote for us. So.
I'm agree we are doing Saburi. I'm agree we are doing Deji to last camp. I'm agree we are going to do Kabusa Takushera. I'm agree we are going to also do Kabusa Ekiti. I will not try. I will not try. So when the time comes, you do for me. I do for you. Let me show. You know, this job we are doing is like a contract. Let me show. You do for me. I do for you. So, don't listen to people who have never come to see you before. Don't listen.
You do for me, I do for you. Yendeba, yendeba. Yendeba, 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 yendeba. Yendeba, yendeba, yendeba. Nigeria. Sometimes it's an unreal place, right? Like seeing the supposed policemen when an accident happens, right? When there is a crash, you would expect the police force or policemen to come around and barricade the area, protect it, because it's an accident scene. That is not in Nigeria. They will rob it. That's what they will do. And they will rob it. They will rob the scene. And even with video evidence, the police can tell you that they don't know them. They are not our members. I'll share that with you in a moment, okay? So this was somewhere in Delta, though, right? But before I get to that, I'm so sorry that we are not taking calls because, I mean, come on, we have a lot to catch up on. So we can always take calls again from tomorrow, all right? So tonight, let's call it the catch-up night. Talking about the police. I found something from Bright, it's still Bright, from Delta, right? And it is this. Bright, what do you have for us?
I'm SP Afe Bright, and this is Delta State Police Command. We're in the office of the Special Anti-Kidnapping and Cyber Crime Squad, saddled with the duty of going after kidnappers. Just yesterday, we received a distress call. That's from our control room that some persons were kidnapped and were going towards Oko area in Asaba, Delta State. Our policemen went after them, and before I go into the details on how we were able to encounter them and recover these weapons, I want us to interview one of the victims who was kidnapped. Okay, this is one of the victims that was kidnapped by these suspected kidnappers whom we recovered these weapons from. So please just tell us briefly what happened.
Yeah, thank you. As at around 10 o'clock, 9:30 last night, we were kidnapped around the Lie Road, Asaba. So while we were returning from where we went to drop a brother, so we were attacked by these hoodlums, and we were taken away to an unknown destination. So while they exhausted the money I had and they were asking for more money, we put a call to our family members, and through the police were informed, and police intervened so quickly.
Okay,
and
to save your time, where they now later dropped you after collecting
they
your
dropped
money?
me around Opanam Axis.
Opanam Axis. Okay, who was this? This vehicle, is it?
That is the vehicle of the person who were together.
Okay, the person they kidnapped.
And they also snatched, took away the vehicle. Okay, after dropping us. They went away with the vehicle. Okay. It was police that recovered the vehicle.
Okay, okay. So you have heard from one of the victims that was kidnapped. This is the vehicle that belongs to the woman that was kidnapped alongside him. Now, when the policemen started trailing them, on sighting the police, they maneuver and started running away. They maneuver and started running away. As they were running, the police went after them head on. They continued running, taking different shortcuts, happy and way, bushes and the rest, until they got tired of running, abandoned the vehicle, and took off. Lo and behold, let us not forget that the matching description of the vehicle was given to the police. And it was when we started this vehicle that our men started going after them. Upon them abandoning the vehicle, the policemen went there, searched this vehicle, and we recovered one AK-47 rifle. This is a pop-action gun. We have some live cartridges here. These are ARO live ammunitions. And let me tell you where these rifles were concealed. They were concealed in the engine compartment of the vehicle, just somewhere here. 3 of them, that's where they were concealed. Part of the reason why I'm displaying this is to let you know that when you see policemen on the way, say open your bonnet and they are searching, people will start laughing and thinking that police are making caricature of themselves. These are the reasons why we do this. Then let me quickly add this. If you see a policeman on the checkpoint or policeman coming towards you, do not run away. Do not run. Stay if you are clean. If you run, it is a red flag. And when you run to maybe a point where somebody now gets an accident and people dies, the police cannot be held responsible. Because if on sighting these people and they were running, we say, oh, let us not chase them, because if anything happens, they will send a police custom. How would we have been able to recover these weapons from them? How would we have been able to recover this vehicle that you are seeing? So we are just doing our job, and all we need is cooperation from members of the public. You see what the victims did? They communicated with the police, they informed the police, and that is what has led now to the recovery of this vehicle. Just imagine if a complete loss of this vehicle happened to this woman. Even after she has escaped from them and she loses her vehicle, she will not be happy. Imagine the danger that these 3 weapons will do in the hands of kidnappers and armed robbers. These are live cartridges and these are ammunitions. This is one of their operational vehicle. The hoodlums, though they are at large, they did go unscathed. They went with bullet injuries, and I believe that sooner, before you know it, we will get them and we'll also parade them for every one of us to see. Thank you. We'll continue to solicit for your support. Always reach out to us. Don't get tired of complaining. Complain.
What shall I say unto the Lord?
Yes, Lord.
All I have to say,
Thank you, Lord.
What shall I say?
Thank you,
Thank you, Bright Edape. Bright, you're bright. But if you can't see police where they do this, who should we call? Should we call police too? Because people actually made the video and they sent it to the police, and guess what the police did? They quickly sent out a rebuter. They said, those are not policemen. Are you being serious? Like, are you for real? I say, yes, they are not policemen. They are not our force. They are not our members. Damn. That's a shame, because they are policemen with their truck, with their guns and their uniform in the video. There's not going to be any investigation, right? That's what I meant earlier. I said, if you have an accident scene where there's a crash, you would expect the police to come quickly and just barricade the area and stop everybody from, sure you get. but not in that contraption. Now, you and police go to drag the content of that falling truck. If it's a petrol or PMS truck, I go shoot you now if you come closer, because they need to fill their tanks. And then you see the police, I mean, they are jerry cans, right? And then the police will be selling the Deji, or the PMS rather. They'll be selling that. It's like their lucky day. It is the loss of the truck driver and his truck and the content, you know. So if the police don't take them, other people go take them. I'm talking about the police, the security of lives and properties. The terrorists in Nigeria have become an industry on their own, a multi-billion-dollar industry. That is what the insecurity has become in Nigeria. Terrorism industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In Zamfara, the terrorists had to detonate what looks like a bomb to damage a road. Some said it's a bridge. I'm like, no, this one looks like a road. And if it's a bridge, wow. Let me show you something. This was in Zamfara State, done by the terrorists of that axis.
kai bari ka taka uban ko nan ya saura ne ya zai yi kula ya ke kula da lawan aiki da haka direbo ba kawai su go ba ku bari kun ku da heko bari in jawo ne ku kawo ci mutane sai kawai ci suke Allah nuna mutane wajen kafin da Allah su saurara ko can waya can wurin dutsen can can ba shi ba ne yan wurin ba shi ba ne can kare ban ba ce ma abin nan ba gwagwai abin ba ce ke tare muke da shi ba tare muke da shi ba
Is that a bomb, or somebody said it's IED, improvised explosive device? Okay, let's say it is IED, right? So it is to damage the road before the bridge, and that was done by the terrorist. We don't know which one, because there are so many terrorists in that part of Nigeria, Zamfara. You've got the Fulani terrorists, you've got the Boko Haram, you've got the ISWAP 1, ISWAP 2, you've got the Lakurawa, you've got Patawales, you've got all kinds of terrorists in the axis, unfortunately. And they have done so much damages to Nigeria's ecosystem, right? They've destroyed Nigeria's economy. They've destroyed the Nigerian agricultural economy. For 10 years now, they have been in business, and the impact is felt by almost everyone, except the politicians, who do not really have to feel anything, as everything is paid for by you, the impoverished, the overtaxed, the traumatized Nigerians. So the last summer, we saw rats. Remi Ahmed Tifnumbu's wife, rats, displayed her farm where she cultivated tomato in a farm. And then she harvested ugu. That was one miracle that some of you are pretty much not talking about. You don't talk much about that miracle. Rats planted tomato. And when it was time for her to harvest, she harvested ugu. It's not funny. But she got away with it. She was encouraging Nigerians to grow their own food. Also, onions, maybe I could harvest rice. But not all of us get a garden. So she started a garden or a farm inside the old rock. You remember that time? Well, Onofunuga has done the same, but he's yet to harvest. According to Onofunuga, he's already covered his own grass in his compound in Lagos, and he's already growing his own vegetable like tomato. Onofunuga, show us your farm. That was Abayo, Ezibida, long throats, Onofunuga, in his own mini farm, in his compound. We will keep monitoring. According to them, they advise all of you to grow your own food. Imagine if you have if you're a family of 5, and this hardship is eating you. I don't know how big you have to grow food that will last you for some months. I don't know, but these clowns are displaying that to encourage all of you to stop complaining about hardship. Grow your own food, according to him. Try and grow your own food and stop complaining. Very simple advice. I hope you listen, even though it is like a clowning. It's called clowning, if you put it that way. Another clown, talking about clowning. Another clown that somehow, right, always portrayed our airspace is Isaac Faulishe. Isaac Faulishe, because he's a Faulishe's brother who was reacting to Tifnumbu's announcement of the Port Harcourt refinery. In his own words, is actually a clown, but yeah, it cracks me up once in a while, like this one.
President Tinubu, you now don't do us 419. Since they opened the refinery, petrol no gree come out again. So that means that day when they throw picture, when they said they are loading now, now figure, kai, authorities stealing pass yahoo, yeah. Authority. How you now go say something is ready and you are loading now? And since that day, you now don't lock gates. Say that go to lock gate when he open his one. Once he said you are open for business, how come? Fuel no come out since 5 days now. Trailer no enter again. The ones where they inside, they don't stop, they stuck inside. Who is deceiving who? Port Harcourt Refinery. Now you not lie, they lie. Oh. This NNPC chairman, we will protest for your office. Oh. We are tired of this your games and lies. After 7th lie, now you can't tell us they are loading. Now show us trucks, 4 trucks. Since that 4 trucks, nothing move again. President Tinubu, talk to this man. Oh. We are tired. Oh. And give us our refinery. Give us open now.
I seek it to seek. Anyway, I told you he's a clown. Well, he's a mini clown. Where another one is, you know the clown called Jesutega or Nopasa? The one that is has been like crying like a baby since Tifnumbu appointed Bulaba Dani as his spokesperson on policy now anyway. He got demoted 24 hours after that announcement. Now, if we are talking about clowns in that place, I don't think we should ignore Onopasa. He is still crying. The last time I saw him was, I think it was yesterday. He was on a rise. Lamentation after lamentation. This time, he repeated what he said a few days ago. that if Tinubu does not reverse that announcement, the appointment of Bulaba, they will remove Tinubu in 2027. And it's not a threat. We will do it. So that's another clown. That when we are mentioning clowns from that contraption, I don't know what number or not passer would take, but it should be top 10 of the clowns from that contraption, an entitled one by for that matter. Or not passer.
Do you still stand with President Tinubu? Because you complained about President Tinubu giving appointments to people who did not work for him, and you as chairman of the media support group for Tinubu, you expressed a lot of anger. Are you going to support him in 2027?
Yes,
so are you going to support him in 2027?
Not at all.
How?
Not.
Are you leaving the party? Are you leaving the EFCC?
He retraces. I am not. Does the party belong to President Tinubu? We all form the party. What's the meaning of that? I will only support him in 2027 if he retraces his footsteps, if he respects our party members, if he stops this bizarre behavior of insulting all of us in the party by giving appointments to people who insulted us, people who called him a drug baron, a drug dealer. I mean, can you imagine that, Ruben? You're a lawyer. Somebody without evidence, no shred of evidence. Even if Bola Tinubu was not a president, if he was just, let's say, a truck pusher, you ought not to call him a drug dealer without evidence. This is a prominent individual. Then somebody keeps calling him a drug baron, a drug dealer without evidence. This is the same person that President Tinubu gives appointment to. What an insult. What is the president trying to say? He's trying to justify the statement the person made. Then we were all defending you. I mean, what an insult. So if Mr. President continues on this trajectory of disrespecting our party members, treating us as if we are beggars, in fact, the narrative is just cool down. Your appointment is coming. Appointment my foot. Who told you I need appointment from you? Did I come to? Have you ever seen me in Ashimaju's house begging me in for anything? Don't disrespect us. We are citizens. We are politicians. We made you president. Respect us in this party, for God's sake. And don't bring this. What is the point in appointing Daniel Bala for this? I'm coming, Dr. Abati. Go on.
Okay, no, go ahead. I was just going to ask you. When you say if the president
what is the point? What's the logic in
if he retraces?
What's the logic in appointing Daniel Bala? I don't see the logic in it, other than Mr. President is telling all of us, his supporters, that to hell with you, I don't give a toss what you think. Well, in 2027, we tell him we don't give a toss what he thinks. That's it. Two can play that game. Go on, doctor.
But he has many people who are supporting him. Maybe one person saying no probably wouldn't matter. But, the Tinubu factor.
You will be dumbfounded, Dr. Abati, you will be dumbfounded. People, you cannot imagine how many people who are supporters of our party who have called me to commend me, that all they were waiting for was just for somebody to be bold enough to say the truth to Achiwaju. Then he behaves as if he has no regard for his supporters. Who told him that it is the spirit of Emefiole that made you president? It's God that made you president. Through us.
I just finished a conversation with Senator Orji Uzor Koolu, and he was talking about unity, national integration, that President Tinubu should be the president of everybody. Not president of the APC alone, not president of the Lagos crowd, not president of the Yoruba. But here you are saying that he should be the president of the APC by giving opportunities only to people within your party.
I refute that. In our party supporters cut across the country. We have supporters from the Niger Delta. We have supporters from the Southeast. We have supporters from Yoruba land. We have supporters from the Middle Belt. We have supporters from the Northeast. We have supporters from the Northwest.
Okay.
So far, Ashiwaju has made it. Let me finish, please, Ruben. So far, Asiwaju has given us the impression that he has only regard for only Lagos people. And most of us consider that to be an insult. You know? And then this, when he keeps insulting those of us, his core supporters, by ignoring our authentic supporters, and then giving appointments to all kinds of people that I don't know what his calculations are. Strategy? No. In fact, that is the antithesis of strategy, as far as I'm concerned. Well, it's not strategy.
Except that it's his prerogative to appoint or, fire whoever he wishes, as he chooses.
Yes, and it is our prerogative. It is also, excuse me, Dr. Abati, it is also our prerogative to hire and fire a president. And if he continues like this, we fire him.
Do you still stand?
Nuisance, Lele.
Jesus Tega or not pasa. Don't take him too serious. You understand? He's a clown, and all of that can change once they begin to play their tribal ethnic card, which is what they will play. The moment you get to 2025, 2026, from next year on, right? But I don't know. It cracks me up as well. Like, I laugh. I do laugh when I listen to him. And that's why I share that with you. So, some of the time. Now, away from that, okay, I do still have a few other stuff to share with us, because, I've been away for 2 days. I wasn't here throughout yesterday, and I can tell you that created a bit of a gap, and that's why we are not taking calls, or we didn't take calls tonight, okay? However, I would wrap it up with this. It's Peter Obi doing what he seems to be enjoying doing since after that charade. The guy has shared over 500 million naira to different, organizations, schools, especially in Nigeria. Here is one of them, just over the weekend. It was yesterday, in fact.
Incompetent people, but they will have an answer. That's what the country is going through. As I conclude, I wish you well, and I assure you, encourage young girls to critical areas of health, education, and he mentioned it's my first time on it, showing my last time. So that is why we're here. We're here to say to you, thank you for what you're doing. 10 laptops and a printer to St. Augustine's Secondary School by Barua in Adamawa. You see, we must work hard to ensure that these students have the best of training, everything. I've got some of our Manjeri students, kids, advisors. You doesn't matter. That's really today. No, forget. Is there anybody who knows so? Hajia. Yeah, please, are you getting it? Yes. Yes, I just doing this.
Yeah, is pretty much becoming their, the beautiful bride up north as well. And everyone believes that he still has his eyes on the #1 job in Nigeria to become their president. The obedience says they are not going to settle for any second fiddle. It is either Obi or make Tifnubu just continue. All this conversation and debate is ongoing out there, all right? Well, we shall cover more on that some other time. So thank you so much everyone. I have missed you, and hopefully, you see, one thing is that in Glasgow right now, the weather is unreliable. Sometimes, right, the weather can be so depressing. It will become so cold that the only place I find so much comfort is that my bed. Yeah? And I kind of get to be over comfortable there, you know. So that's why you barely see me in the afternoon now. Just bear with me, okay? So most of the time when I leave the studio, it's always so late. And by the time I go to bed, it's even more late. And I have to be up early enough. And then when I'm up early, I usually go back to bed and to get some rest. So that is why you barely see me in the afternoon. But I do promise that when I'm not too tired, I will show up. But if you don't see me in the afternoon tomorrow, you will surely see me later in the evening, okay? So our weather is so depressing now. When I say depressing, it's so cold, right? It is so cold that you just want to stay indoor, enjoy the comfy of that your bed or your room. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening or this night. Thanks so much for staying this long as well. We shall continue from where we are stopping tonight, tomorrow, while we continue to monitor the progress on the Alagbara Mameru Babalola, this coward, hiding behind the corrupt system in Nigeria to hunt down those they considered as too free to address them or those who make them so uncomfortable. On Dele Farotimi's abduction, yeah, we will see how far this is going to go. Hopefully, by the time I come back here tomorrow, DF will be back home. Okay, so and the trauma of them invading his space, kidnapping him, and smuggling him straight to Ekiti. 7 hours drive from Lagos. We shall know more from tomorrow. So thank you so much, everyone. As you are leaving tonight, remember, like the broadcast and share it too to those who haven't, possibly, who are not able to see this from the beginning. And to those of you who joined us late, remember as well, you can watch this from the start. Just make sure that you can skip the first 5 minutes. Yeah, that's the music part. If you don't really like the music that much, okay, skip it and start watching from after 6 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to see you again. Until then, stay safe, okay? And then be safe too. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun dayari politico. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí Facebook
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí YouTube
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
wọ́n bàbá gbé wúrẹ́
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ijó ìgbádìyẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
kí gómìnà kówó jẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
òkúra olóṣèlú
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀ súnra kì
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
ha kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ̀lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.